Situation was exactly what I dreamt of, but it was suddenly reality. You know, all this hardcore stuff suddenly became reality, and it was not a reality I was prepared for. The academy is in a castle, like a Chinese old castle. So the castle is really a castle, like cold stone. The windows have no have no glass and stuff like this, like old wooden, you know, windows. The door is like really you push and it goes out, and you don't have a lock or something like that. It's a real castle, yeah. So one day I really want to go there and film everything, and or if some students want to go with me and see all that, because this never again I see something like this in no other academy I've been after that, yeah. So I'm in a room which is completely cold. It was September, but in northeast China in the evening, that time it's getting cold already. And maybe it was even end of September, I don't remember. But so they bring me in a room, say that's your room, and then I see two beds there, completely like wooden, but they had the bed stuff and everything, but hard and everything, yeah. So on the roof was one big hole, and I remember the wind was like going through this room already in the afternoon. So in the night it was more even. The door was not really locked and everything. So that night I'm sitting there. You can't drink water from the tap. You don't have anything. 45 minutes to the city with the car, and you are on a hill in this castle. Yeah, there's nowhere you go and buy something. I thought of water, like boiling water. Right that moment, the door knocks, and my Shaolin Sifu brings one thermos can of water to me. I say, that's your water. So at least I had water. And then I remember I was sitting on this bed, like this, my legs here, and sitting here on the wall and looking to the walls, like everything broken down. And I was there for 3 years. So I applied for 3 years, and in my mind, I said bye to everyone in Germany, so I'm here for 3 years, yeah. So I'm sitting there and saying, I want to go right now, you know. If not the next day, I want to go back. Right then, go back, and that was it. I'm not here staying. So, but then I thought, okay, look, I thought maybe sleep one night and then decide again. So next morning, the same. The toilet is 50 meters out of this room. You go outside. And the second day I was thinking, maybe I can make it a week. Let me stay a week, and then I see, yeah. So the fourth day, my roommate came, Darren Smith, yeah, a very good friend, took me through this time there. A guy from London, grew up in Brooklyn, New York, a catch wrestler and a fitness guy, basically. Also a fighter, a street fighter, and he came to my room. He was my roommate suddenly. He came 4 days after me, and my English back then was really bad. So all my friends back then, hello for all of you, they can, yeah, they still know it, I think. So I couldn't basic hello and yeah, no problem. That was basically all what I had. Yeah. So with Darren, of course, this English got a little bit better. And when he came, suddenly something changed, and I said, okay, maybe I can make it a half year. Maybe I can stay a half year here. Yeah. So that was all the beginning. So I don't want to go too much into that, but it was really difficult because, yeah.
What's the training like the next day? Did it start?
Yeah, it started the training because I arrived a Monday and on Thursday Darren arrived. So the training was tuck, 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 somebody wake me up, 5 o'clock I think was it, line up, counting, and then go running. Yeah, so we went running maybe for half an hour or something like this, and super cold for me back then. And I didn't know it gets minus 35 in China, in that area of China. Of course, not that time, but it will get that cold later. So I didn't bring stuff for that, you know. I really wasn't prepared for that. I just took my stuff, what I wear every time, my training stuff, and went there. So it was really, even though my parents, my father especially, said to me, look, it will be winter, take your stuff, and I didn't listen to him. But anyway, so the training was running, come back, start stretching, everything hurts. In the cold, you're outside in the forest. So we were training in the forest, and there were not a real training ground really. So we made our training ground by ourselves. Stretching foot on the trees, and then like stretching this very famous Shaolin Wushu stretching, bring the toes to your forehead, and then the kick started, basics, fundamentals of Wushu basically. So we are standing here and doing our kicks, pam, 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 in, out, and all this stuff. No Qigong, but because Master Long, my first Wudang Sifu, was not there, but one classmate, yeah, he taught me my first Qigong, basically, yeah, from the US, also a student of Grandmaster Long. So Morgan is his name, and he taught me the very first lesson of Red Sand Palm. So that was the very first internal thing ever in China that I had. And then the 24 Taiji Chuan, another classmate like Prometheus from Greece, Kos Island, he taught me that Tai Chi form. So those two, Morgan and basically they were my very first in China internal martial arts teachers. So a part of that, it was basically external Shaolin training, and the training was 4 times a day, and every time it was the same training. You go running, you come back, you stretch, after stretching the kicks, after kicks the basic stances, and if you have learned already a form, you repeat the form. These 5 patterns every training session. So it was basically what we did all day. My very young mind, so immediately so like, hey, this is not like the 36 chambers, it's not the real Shaolin, and you know, why I don't learn to fight, where is the applications, and all that go through my mind. But basically this was the training, and that was also one of the main points that I said I want to go back. But after, as I said, like Darren arrived there, it was a good motivation, and he had the right, let's say, inspiration. He inspired me because he was so strict with his training, and you could see that he's been through hardship before. If not, he wouldn't be able to stay there as well. Yeah, and of course the older brothers, like what I said, like Morgan, and they also did their training, but I didn't have that connection to them because they were a long time ago there already, and Darren arrived basically with me together. So in my mind it was always After a half year, I did my first break, and then because this was after the winter, I had a lot of stories there, it's too long now to, the winter stories, yeah? Minus 35, and we go out running, and my beard becomes ice and stuff like that. Or sick, not getting out of bed, and Wong Sifu comes in with his stuff and pulls me out the bed and brings me out and says push-up position and breaks this stuff on my butt, so stuff like this, and then never again I got sick suddenly. I really caught a cold back then, and I really didn't want to train, didn't want to line up. So first Wong Sifu came and say line up, and then I said, I'm really I couldn't even talk, and my eyes were he could see I'm really sick. So I said, I really can't get up. He don't say anything. He goes. Suddenly, boom, door out. He comes with a gun, stuff in his hand. He takes my cover, boom, away. We anyway slept like this, more than what I have now, because it's too cold. So he take my arm and pull me out of this room, outside, say push-up position, and one other guy too, because he didn't want to run. So both of us, and on my butt already, he do bam, one, and second time this thing broke, So this was the time. It was good for my body though, because my body then learned really not to get sick somehow in the cold. Yes, I had still my offs of training, of other stuff, diarrhea or something like this, but this cold thing or I can't get up thing was done with this, with this action. This kind of stuff. But my second going was much better. It was Frühling, springtime. So after my first break, spring, I arrived there, everything getting better, getting better, everything were blooming, and the atmosphere was different. Suddenly, then I found a connection to China. Before then, really, it was evil, So I really want to go away. But after then, up to today, I prefer China. Up to today, for living, I still prefer China. So that was basically the beginnings in China.